What's going on, guys? Zach from iTrendz here, coming to you guys with another watch list. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about CPI and what it means for the market, and what type of plays we're looking at for the remainder of the week. Excuse me. I apologize for the grainy video. Let me share my screen here. For some reason, Zoom thinks that it's low light, even though it is most definitely not low light. So let's get right into it. So let's see here. These things are going to get in my way. I'm just on my laptop right now. So CPI came in really, really low, and it's actually crazy how low it came in. It came in at 0%. So with food and gas, it came in at 0%. Our expected was really low already at 0.2%, but we beat that at 0. We came in at 0%. Our previous read was 1.3. So 1.3 was our previous read. That was kind of a blast to the market, right? This time we get 0, and it's really, really good for the market. The market is happy about that, as you can see from the reaction today, right? Quite bullish, right? Without food and gas, it came in at 0.3%. We are expecting 0.5%. And I believe previously we also had 0.5%. So there's little change there, which is a little weird. Most of that downward pressure in the report probably came from more on the gas side, right? We've seen crude and other commodities as well pull back considerably in the past couple months or so, right? So it's really interesting because the month-over-month figures came in great. And even though the year-over-year figures came in lower than expected, and lower than previous, it's still really high. We came in at 8.5% on the main figure year over year. We expected 8.7%. Our previous was 9.1%. 9.1% was a big surprise last time. It caused our markets to have some significant selling pressure, right? This time around came in at 8.5%, which is the same read that we got, I think, 3 reads ago. And the market was really, really scared when that happened. But this time, you know, we're kind of shrugging it off. So basically what I'm getting at here to wrap it all up with the CPI talk is, yes, really good figure because month over month, we're seeing a slight inflection, right? We're seeing a slight inflection. That's really good that we're seeing that. Obviously, we want inflation to come down, right? That's what the goal of the Fed is for this inflation to come down. But we're really not seeing it affect the year over year numbers too much, too drastically. It's not until it gets under 7 and consistently keeps getting lower and lower and lower on the year over year figures, month over month on each data report, that we'll probably see a little bit of sentiment shift in the market fully, right? Where we can actually get back to like highs, right? I'm not talking individual stocks. I'm talking on QQQ, right? And SPY as well. So anyway, let's get into it. With that being said, I just want to say, one, thank you for tuning in today. Hopefully you guys get some good trades out of this, get some good insight into the market and what happened with CPI and everything. Thank you for stopping by the channel. I just wanted to say that you got to definitely be careful. We are in a significant bear market rally here, right? And it's kind of a question of when are these musical chairs going to, you know, when is the music going to stop, right? When does everybody kind of have to sit down? And you don't want to be the person left out there, right? I'm not saying that we're going to go and make a new bottom or anything, but we will need a pullback here coming soon, right? We will need a pullback just a little bit because we're getting a little overextended on the hour, on the daily rather, excuse me. We're not getting there on the weekly yet or anything like that, but we are getting there on the daily. So we are going to need some significant amount of pullback where we kind of see maybe slightly sideways, slightly negative, or just negative downside price action for a week, week and a half or so to kind of get us back in track, right? And all things considered, said this last time, if you stay above 300 as a bull, you shouldn't be too scared, really. If you're above 300, now that we're almost at 330, that's 30 points, right? 10% of 300. So really that 10% pullback inside of this nice uptrend that we're having inside of the bear market rally, inside of the bear market, you know, the bulls can't really be scared until 300. But obviously as traders, we're going to trade it up and down. So let's just get right into it, right? I do want to show you guys here on the daily. Let's go to the daily. You're going to see that we're getting close to overbought on a lot of stocks, including Apple, right? One of the strongest in the market. We're getting really close to overbought. If not overbought on Apple, we are actually overbought. So on Qs, as for tomorrow, what we're looking for, basically, I'm looking for something really simple here. Looking for above this 326 level here, above this 326 to trade towards 330. If we are going to jump above 330, I'm going to go back to the daily, excuse me, to show you. If we're going to jump above 330, we have a pretty clear path to this 333 to 335 zone. So that's where I anticipate the price action to play out if we end up trading above 330 tomorrow. I am actually slightly anticipating a high open. You can even see it here in the futures. We're just very, very strong close, atypical strong close on today's session. So I am expecting us to open quite high, right? And then, which is nice. It allows us as traders to identify an easily identifiable support level that we create throughout the day, today's session, so that tomorrow all we have to do is pull back, confirm those levels, and trade the balance off of it. And really, honestly, it makes our lives very, very easy. So I really do hope we actually push up a little bit towards that 330 and come back down to this 326 level where we closed today, and then just take the bounce off of it, making it very, very easy for us. Right on the downside, not really looking to trade intraday downside too much, to be honest. I'd more so be looking for us to come back to this 322 again and bounce if we did not move up overnight, right? So that's essentially what I'm looking for. Above 326 towards 330, then above 330, 333, 335 area, that zone. And then below, or rather a bounce off of 322 to then take to the upside as well. If we push up overnight, that's like the best case scenario for myself, personally speaking for myself. So I have a couple trades here that we're going to go over. We're going to go over Amazon. We're also going to go over, I have a couple other trades on my phone here. Sorry, not so professional, but lots and lots to do today. So we're going to go over Amazon. We're also going to go over AMD as well, and a few others. So let's get right into it. So Amazon is not the first pick, but I just wanted to get it out of the way. So I'm looking above this 143. I anticipated that it was going to come all the way back down to this 140 tomorrow. I mean, today, excuse me. It didn't even hit that, so I never got to get into my trade. Didn't hit my level, so I didn't take my trade. I'm not going to chase it. But it is setting up very nice, a nice little flag right here inside of this little consolidation zone at this, towards the top side of the zone that we've got this larger zone. Above 143.50 towards this 145 to 146 zone. That'll be my nice upside trade that I have. As far as downside, I'd really just look for it to bounce off this 140 if we were to have a pullback, looking for that 140 touch and bounce. So above 143.50 or bounce 140. Let's go into the options chain here. If you're looking for a contract to swing like for excess gains, these 145s look it. I mean, there's a lot of people here today. A lot of people. I like these 143s and these 144s as well. All right, so let's keep moving on here. AMD. Now we're gonna go look at NVIDIA as well. I just want to point this out. NVIDIA, with the whole they reported that they lost that revenue, right? They didn't report for earnings. They just had a piece of news that came out, Catalyst, that came out and said that they are minus $2 billion from their expected revenue, which is not a good thing, right? So I'm not so interested in NVIDIA where it's at. I want to let it settle out. And for the most part with the CPI stuff as well, I want to let it settle out for a few days, right? 2 to 3 more days. And then we'll kind of know this, like the vibe of the market. But with AMD, I am looking for us to re-break this 100 level, which is really kind of crazy because now we're underneath it. We're trading underneath it. So there's two things from here. So if we come up to 100, we reject it, then this could mean that we're kind of forming a slight resistance here in this 100 area for AMD. We could possibly see ourselves trading back down towards this 89 level, which would be amazing short opportunity, right? But for tomorrow and the rest of the week, I am looking for us above 100. I will trade it towards this 102 to 103 zone, right? Really large zone in here, but you have take profits along the way. So you have a take profit here at 171, right above it, 102, and then 103, right? And then if we are going to pull back, I'm looking for us to confirm this 97 to 98 zone, right? We had a nice little trade on it today, about a 50%, 45% trade on it today. Real simple. But the 97 to 98 zone today proved to be a big area of support in the intraday trading session. So I'm going to look for us to actually hold that going into tomorrow as well and potentially take bounces off of that 98 level. So let's look in the contracts here. This is the first time I'm looking at the contracts. I don't have any contracts picked out. I do like these hundreds, nice and cheap, getting towards the end of the week, right? So they're going to be cheaper. I like the hundreds or the 101s. There's no reason to really go out on those. These are cheap enough contracts where you can play right at the money and have great IV and see like excessive gains in the contracts, right? So let's keep going here. What else did I have on my watch list? Sorry again. Apologize. Trying to get through this for you guys. Oh, I do want to bring this RIVN earnings lotto, right? So I brought an earnings lotto to you guys in the previous session, and Spence had the other portion of the Roblox trade, right? So he told you the day trade. I told you the earnings lotto. That earnings lotto, man, if CPI wasn't here, it would have been a great lotto. Didn't take the lotto, didn't trade it. I thought it was too risky going to CPI. But without CPI, man, that would have been amazing. 5x easy return. on your contracts over that overnight price action, right? Had a significant downside. So with Rivian, I'm looking for the same exact thing. I'm looking for downside on Rivian because, let's be honest, Rivian, they're struggling. Their output is struggling significantly, right? So I think that this risk to reward, on the downside here for the earnings is a risk reward that I'm willing to take, right? This is a lotto, so you wouldn't consider this a real trade. You're not looking to trade this like a real trade, right? You shouldn't be putting a full amount or full position on this, right? You should be taking a smaller position size. And it's really the way that I look at it, a zero or a hero, meaning that the contract either goes to zero or it's going to go 100% plus, right? So on the downside, I was looking at these 34 puts. Those are super loaded on the week. They're also pretty cheap, 80 cents. Pick up a couple of these, right? Depending on your account size, of course. But pick up a couple of these and then swing them for the shorts. This is my earnings lotto play for this market watch session, or watch list session. I'm not so sure if I really enjoy next week's contracts as much, honestly. I'm not so certain. Well, maybe it's worth it though, because we could see some downside next week. I do like these 35s as well. If you want to buy time for the earnings trade as well and just risk a little bit more capital, I do like the 35 puts for next week or the 34 puts for this week. That's for the Rivian. And that's it that I have on the watch list for you guys today. 3 simple trades, AMD, Amazon, and Rivian. I do want to say what you need to be paying attention to is the Fed funds rate, right? So the reason why we're pushing so much is because little by little, and then of course today, CPI really had a big impact, are what we're pricing in for the September meeting for the FOMC for 50 basis points is increasing, right? So we're getting further away from 75 basis points and coming closer towards the 50 basis points, right? So as we see, and this is more of an if, but it's kind of an as well, as we see more pricing in of a 75 bips for the September meeting, we're going to see more selling pressure. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you guys are tracking that. If we are continuing to price in more and more and more chance of a 50 bips, which is at like 70 or 75% right now, if we price in more and more and more of that, then I assume and expect the market to continue to push, right? Have minor counter trends for sure, but continue to push and push and push, especially if we can get over that 330 level on QQQ that we've been talking about for months now, right? But if we start pricing in more and more chance of the 75 basis point hike, then we could see some issues and some selling pressure back down to that 300 level on Qs, and then maybe even further back down to like that 285 zone. But anyway, this has been Zach from iTrendz. Hopefully you guys learned a good deal during this watch list session. Also got those trades for you. Hopefully you guys take some of our trades. I mean, we're giving out fire every single watch list session. I hope you guys are taking them. We're banging them in the chat at least. So if you would like to come profit with us, check the link out in the description to our Discord. We've got links in there to our website. We've got a link in there for free stocks. Whatever you need, we've got it down in the description below. Feel free to come check out our free market prep sessions where we do this watch list in a much more elongated format where we look at more trades. We talk a little bit more in depth about the market, and we just go in and chart your actual trades as well that you're looking at. If you want any of that, that is in the description in the Discord. 2 times a week, we do that for free, open to everybody. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys later, and I'll see you in the next one.